the Rise Summit. I have a very special guest today. She has also been featured on The Secret, so that's quite a theme right here. And her name is Marie Diamond. And Marie is one of the world's top transformational leaders, speakers, and best-selling authors. She is the only European star featured in the worldwide phenomenon The Secret. She merges her intuitive knowledge of the law of attraction with her studies of quantum physics, meditation, Feng Shui, and dowsing to transform the success of individuals and corporations. Her clients include billionaires, A-list celebrities, writers, speakers, CEOs, Fortune 500 companies, governments, and more than 300,000 students online. Welcome, welcome, Marie.
Thank you so much. So wonderful to be here today.
It is great having you on here. And I know that you are a transformational leader. You do a lot of things around transformation. And here we are talking about transforming trauma. And I really want to make the link between what we feel inside in our internal environment and how it relates to our external environment, and how it's interwoven into each other. And once we change, sometimes the external is even easier to change, and how that reflects the internal environment. So I just want to start by a little story, my personal story, where I found that link as a young child, and then we'll dive right in, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I was about 13, 14 years old, my mother had severe depression, and she was in bed, and she would not come out of bed for weeks. And I was living with my father at that time, and I used to take the bus every single day and come sit by her side. And of course, I was very worried about her health and all that. But more than that, I saved her life from an attempt to commit suicide when I was 6 years old. So I had a very strong fear that she might end up her life. So I was in a state, I was really determined to pull her from that state. And I will never forget how, as a young girl, I sat next to her and I said to her, you know what? You've been lying in this room, in this surrounding for so long. And you in depression, and nothing changes that. Maybe change your surrounding. How about you just buy a new bedroom? Let this old bedroom just go away and buy a new one. And she listened to me. She ordered a new complete set of, the bed and the dressing table and the cupboard. And I cannot tell you how that shifted everything for her. She started slowly come out of bed, and she was excited about this new bed, and started packing her clothes in the cupboard, and it really helped her. And I then realized how much we have that link to our surroundings. And so this is my personal story regarding that. And now I want you to dive just in for this topic.
Thank you for sharing. So yeah, for me, it was also, a trauma that, shifting the environment that really changed the trauma that I had. So I grew up in a very traumatic family with physical abuse and emotional abuse. And also then, of course, I attracted also a lot of trauma at school. Even if I was a very top student, I was bullied, was beaten up on school. So it was like my first 15 years, there was a lot of trauma. And if I look back at it, I was probably very depressed myself. But I already knew how to meditate. So I think that already helped me for the first, from my 7 till my 15. But then when I had a near-death experience after being run over by a truck, and coming back from that and starting to understand when I asked my teacher, what do I do wrong to attract like all this bad luck, all these difficult times? He said, you just have bad Feng Shui. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? And so for me, it was understanding that the place where I was sleeping was really not a good energy for me. I was sleeping the wrong direction. The environment was, the area was the north room, and the north, you have the least amount of sunshine in the northern hemisphere. And so it was a very dark space. And, but you just go in the space that your parents say where you go to sleep, of course, right? And then I asked my parents if I could change to another room, as my brothers had left the house. And they have stayed in a room, and they always had fun. They were always laughing, but it was the west side, and there was a lot of sunshine coming in. And so I changed there, and I changed the colors. I put like a bright orange. I changed the images around me. And that is then actually when the healing started happening. And very interesting, not just the healing from the bullies, because the bullies suddenly became very friendly to me, but also the healing in my family. So the emotional and abuse really stopped. Suddenly my father respected me more. And so I was like in a whole other space. And so for me, it's just like I had worked so hard through prayer, through meditation, to change my environment, to change what was going on. And thank God I had all this to stay above it as much as I could and to keep living. But it was only when I changed my environment that I really saw the big difference, and that my trauma started healing, and there was like no extra trauma added to my life anymore from that moment. And that was a big shift for me, to understand there is a system, an energy system that's called Feng Shui, that for thousands of years the Chinese already were aware of. And I think we intuitively know that too. We know there's spaces where we feel uplifted and where we feel in peace and in harmony. And there are other places where we try to avoid. But of course, as a child, you just don't have so much choices. Well, the only thing I did was I was not in the house as much as I could. And I was sitting in the trees. So that was like I was always climbing the trees and sitting there. And being in nature, I was looking to heal the trauma. So environment is responsible for 1/3 of our results, of our law of attraction, of our healing. And so that's why the environment is a key point to look into.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation. And you mentioned nature, and for sure, nature is one place to really recharge your energy and your vibration. I really feel that this is the place of healing. But we don't live in the trees, right? We have to bring that.
Oh,
Um,
no, I tried, didn't work.
yeah, yeah. So what are the few practical things that one can do to really have that shift in their life, to really like uh, positively affect their health, their vitality, their energy, their trauma?
Well, the first thing that I always see people that had traumatic experiences is they don't feel safe. Yeah, so there's like this ongoing unsafe feeling to their family, to the world, because they had really that experience of the boundaries were overstepped in some way, physically, emotionally, sexually, mentally, spiritually. And so the first step, what I learned that really shifted me and feeling more safe in myself and safe in the world, was that I put myself always in what we call a power position. So a power position is that when you are in any room that you're in, that you always make sure that you see the door. So right now I'm sitting here and I see the door. So by seeing the door, your brain waves will actually shift from beta, where we are more fearful, to alpha, where we're more creative and feeling more safe. So if you are sitting on a desk, if you're working, always in that room, make sure you see the door. And it's the door of the hallway, the door towards other rooms, not the door to the bathroom or the window. It's really seeing the door. Also, when you are in your living space or in your dining room, make sure you're in the power position. Yeah. Especially if there is somebody in your environment that is creating the traumas for you, and they are the ones overpowering you in some way, then make sure you always put yourself in a power position. And that was one of the other things I learned, is that I actually shifted my space at the dining room table. And so I became in a power position. Before, it was always my father being in the power position. And so I would come in and I was sitting with my back to the door all the time. And I was really afraid that he would open the door and do something to me. Like, I was always so on my nerves. And so by changing that I could see from the dining room when he would come in, I started feeling more powerful. Yeah. But it's because your brain waves are actually changing. So any space, if that's in an office or is that in a workspace, even in your bedroom, if you're sitting in your bedroom and you wake up, see the door. Make sure the doors are not to the same wall of your headboard. Yeah. Because then you're not in a power position. So that's a very simple technique. What it does, it's like we are in control, or you will be in control of what comes towards you. Because when you had traumatic experiences, they always came out of the blue. You never expected it. Yeah. So that's one thing I would definitely try for you to do. And it has really shifted my life. And each time I started doing that, I felt like more and more confident, more and more in control of my environment. When you're in control of your environment, you're in control of your emotions and you're in control of your healing. Yeah. So it's one of the things I would love for you to do. The second thing I would love for you to do is Feng Shui is also to do with finding balance and health and well-being. It actually is one of the most important things why Feng Shui was ever created. And so make sure that you look at what we call your energy number. So you can go and download for free the Mary Diamond app on Google Play or App Store. And there you will need to put in your birthday and birth gender, and you will get a compass. And the compass looks like this. Yeah. And so this is like for energy number 8. So this is a compass, and you'll see here healing. Yeah. And so, or health. And so you will actually hold the compass in the center of the room that you stay the most in. And that's the bedroom, living space, and workspace. And you will see where is your health direction. So for me, it's kind of over there. If I follow the line, it's over there. So always make sure your health direction is decluttered, because when you have chaos there, it actually adds to the inner chaos. So always make sure it's organized, it's clean. The second thing is you can place there some books, perhaps on healing, especially if you're still in the works of healing trauma. You can work on looking for some books, just putting messages out there that are supporting you. If you are experiencing trauma by somebody in your family, make sure there's no picture of that person in your health direction, because I know you perhaps want to heal that relationship, but right now that person is not giving you health. It's actually giving you chaos. So you have to remove that picture from your health direction in case it is there. And then look for something you want to place there symbolically. And it could be like a healing crystal that you like, or any other healing symbols, or it could be like a beautiful blossoming plant like a white orchid. Make sure you avoid sharp-edged plants in that corner. And so that will help you to stimulate the recovering. And also the very important color for transforming trauma is actually violet. So violet is the fastest moving and frequency of all the colors we have on this planet. And violet stands for the letting go, the release, the forgiveness of anything that happened to us in the past. So I would suggest to put something in violet there. Could be a violet candle, can be violet flowers, can be a violet stone like an amethyst, for example, very powerful. And also put something with white. Yeah, white stands also for purity, but also stands for releasing any abusive experiences. So it could be a white candle, could be any white symbol or white cover. So place these two colors in your health direction. If you don't know how to better to work with your personal one.
Sorry, Marie, you've been just frozen for a few moments. So I lost you when you said place white, and then I lost you for a couple of moments. If you can just repeat.
Okay, no problem. So, you can place white, that stands for purity, but also releasing any abuse. And you can put it in your health direction, but also you can, if you don't know your personal health direction, you can always go general. Let's say you have the whole family has been going through a traumatic experiences, then you can put white and purple symbols in the east of the living room. Yeah, because that is helpful for everyone.
Yeah, sure. That's wonderful. This app looks amazing, and I'm definitely going to download it myself and check where is my health direction and really work with that because yeah, that's just such a wonderful tool. And is it only health there, or are there other areas of life that you can find?
Yes, so there are other areas of life. So you will see there's a success area, that's blue, relationship, and wisdom. And for sure, for traumatic experiences and people that have gone through that, they also need to check for sure their relationship direction. Yeah. Because perhaps they have their symbols that, are more creating more trauma, or like, for example, if you have images of violence or conflict or chaotic images, like in your relationship direction, that will enhance more of that. I remember when I looked back at my room, where I endured the most trauma in my life. I had in my relationship direction, I had an image that I had painted myself. That was even the worst part of it. Like it looked like somebody. It was like a Picasso. It was like a picture of somebody that was like the whole face was like, strange and looked dark and angry. And so that was in my relationship direction. So when I moved that away and I started placing images of girlfriends, like it was like posters at that time from David Hamilton. And so I put that out there, like two girls riding with a bike. And so by placing that there, I actually attracted my first best friend, and we were biking together to school every day. So it was really interesting. But before that, I just was like so angry, and I probably projected that, because you have to understand, in the quantum physics field, there's a unity between who we are and what is around us, because everything is energy. And that is like a missing link in the law of attraction, that a lot of people think, well, I can do everything with my mind, but they forget their home has a mind of its own. And if we are tapping into that, we also can change the environment so that we're giving the right messages to our inner self and to heal better.
Yeah, that's right. And you've been talking about decluttering, and I think that is a key practice if you want to shift some old stagnant energies. Decluttering, letting go of things that you don't need, you don't use, you don't like, making things aesthetically look more appealing, getting rid of things that don't work. All of that is an instant energy shifter, right? And so
It is. It is. And it's really interesting that when I have visited thousands and thousands of homes as a Feng Shui master, and working with so many people all over the world, I have seen that people that have a hard time to declutter, it's most of the time that they have gone through trauma. Yeah. And it's the more they have gone through trauma, the more it's hard for them to create an organized life around them, because they're still emotionally so in pain, and it's like the pain is like represented in their environment. And some of them are hoarders, or some of them are just collectors that you just cannot let go of things. And so one of the things I've seen, that when we start working outside of ourselves, right, to let go of certain things, we also let go gently of certain things in ourselves. Yeah, it's a process. Sometimes we just cannot do it from within. And then I would say, but we can start from without, from around you. But always try to, especially people that have gone through a lot of trauma, they need some extra support. So look for a friend or a family member, a buddy. I call it a decluttering buddy, right? That just comes with you and asks you the question, and do you still need that? Yeah. Yeah, but, and they all have the excuses and the stories, right? And to ask, will you use it in the next year? That's kind of a good question to ask. Yeah. Of course, you can go with, oh, does that give you still joy? Yeah. If you are a hoarder, everything gives you joy. So that's not a good question. Yeah. So you still have to ask yourself, is that something I'm going to use still? Yeah. It can somebody else benefit from it more than I do. Yeah. And so by starting there, and the first step I always ask, especially to release trauma, is to declutter your bedroom. Yeah. Because your bedroom is where you stay 8 hours a night in an unconscious way. And it influences you even more than when there's clutter in other areas. So first, for sure, next to you on your nightstand, no clutter, no clothes on the ground. And also especially under your bed, if you have things under your bed. So remove anything that's clutter under your head and under your heart. So if things are towards your feet, that is fine. Yeah. Or just put things in cabinets, because what your mind doesn't see, it doesn't affect you. Or if you cannot, because they're boxes and things, put a white fabric over it, because then your mind sees it as white, as pure, till you have the time to declutter it.
Yeah, that's some great tips right there. And I found it to be true as well. When somebody is in a deep state of trauma, and they or just coming out, and they can't meditate, they don't want to, they don't have that energy, that vitality to actually create a positive momentum. So by doing a little bit on the outside, that already create the impact on the inside, and can give that little bit of energy fuel to then carry on
Right.
the work and do other things.
Correct. And it's definitely very helpful. And for me, it has been a lifesaver. And to all the time looking at, can I keep things clean? Not overly perfectionist, but just to say, like, okay, every day, every time I can, I make sure everything is as organized as possible. It just gives a feeling of freedom, a feeling of space within you and space in your mind.
I cannot agree more with that. And I'm coming from a background where my environment was very chaotic. Things were very disorganized. They were very messy. And so was all our lives as the people inhabiting those spaces. And it took me years to find a way to organize my space. And when I found a lot of trial and error, a lot of a lot of really wanting but not knowing how, and years of practicing, I am now in a space where I feel that my environment is organized, and it gives me so much peace of mind. And it's just, I know that these things work from first-hand experience.
Beautiful. Yeah, lovely to hear that you really made a shift in this.
Yeah, and it was over time. And I'm also a Virgo as my star sign, and I've got a lot of Virgo in my chart, which is a very analytical, organized star sign. And I had to really live up to that. It took me a very long time. I was in the complete opposite direction to it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a muscle. You know, you have to practice it. But I always say start with one cabinet, you know, and that's why I always say start first at your bedroom because that's where you're sleeping. Yeah. And that's where I see people with a lot of trauma first will start putting clutter down, actually, and start hoarding is in the bedroom. So that's the first place you need to release.
Yeah. So, any other takeaways before we wrap up this beautiful conversation?
Thank you. So, yeah, I would suggest that, you know, to know that you are able to get out of the pain of a trauma. And there's some wonderful tools, and I'm so happy that you are bringing this forward to the public that you have, um, and that your environment can really help you with this. And if you feel your environment, your home is just very hard to cope with, start adding just a few plants or blossoming flowers, and always plants that are not spiky, no cacti, no yucca plants. So something that is round and soft. And so, and also add to your environment soft things like soft pillows, soft throws in warmer colors like peach and orange and yellows and roses, because then you give yourself like a loving, tender care. So your environment can start really help you to heal and feel in harmony.
Yes, I love that. And can I add maybe something to elevate your sense of smell, if it's essential oils or
Yeah,
sense of,
of course.
yeah, that's
So
also,
So one of the things I would suggest in etheric oils is when you are still in the healing process of your trauma, I would suggest definitely to work with lavender and lavender mist and spray that above your bed like a half hour before you go to sleep, or put some essential oil of lavender on your pillow, left and right from your head, but always like a half hour before because it can be quite strong. And so you will be able to relax more and have deeper sleep. And when you feel there's a lot of trauma going on, a lot of emotional abuse in a home, always put out, or you can do aromatherapy, or you just can spray or do a candle with that smell, is vanilla. Vanilla always calms the energy around you.
yeah, thank you for that. That is a great addition. And so, Marie, if people want to follow your work, connect with you, what's the best way?
Well, the best way is to go to my website, mariediamond.com, and download your free energy report that will help you with finding out your directions. Get and download your free Marie Diamond app. So to know what is your health direction, so you can start practicing it. And then, of course, my Instagram, Marie Diamond 8. 8 is a lucky number in Feng Shui. And so there's always a lot of videos there, a few times a week, a lot of tutorials. And of course, you can follow me also on my YouTube channel, where you have a lot of videos to support you with your feng shui and supporting your law of attraction and becoming an amazing human being even after experiencing trauma.
Thank you so much, Marie. I really, really honor you and the work that you're doing in the world. And thank you for being here. So appreciated.
Thank you.
Bye now.